Hi, and welcome to week 14 of math. This week, we will continue to take a look at fractions. We will start today with just reviewing what we did last week with being able to put a fraction on the number line, as well as just being able to set up or write a fraction. So I thought we would start by taking a look real quick at what we did last week. Here's our number line. Now, how do we find out what fractions go with these lines? Well, what we need to do is we start at 0 and we need to count 1, 2, and don't forget that we need to count this line with the 1 because we learned last week that when you're at 1, that means you have a fraction that has the same number for the numerator as you do for the denominator. So let's take a look at that. Go ahead and count. I have 1, 2, 3. So in this case, I would have 3 over 3, which is equal to 1. Number, numerator, denominator, same number, that equals 1. Well, now I at least know what my denominator is for my fraction. It's going to be 3. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write my 3's, as you can see. Now I got to figure out the numerator, or the part of the fraction that we are looking at. So sorry, there's a little bit of a glare in front of the window. So if I count and I go 1, 2, there's 3. We can see that was our numerator here. So I would come back 1, 2. So that is how we set up a number line. That is how we make a fraction. Now, from there, this week, we're going to be taking a look at comparing fractions. So I'm going to just erase some of these lines here. And let's take a look at the fractions 1/3 and 2/3. A little bit bigger. Now, when we look at these fractions, and these are fractions that we've been used to dealing with, we can tell that if we wanted to compare them based off of which one is bigger, well, we could look at the numbers and we see 1/3 and we see 2/3. Well, in this case, 2 would be bigger than 1, so yeah, of course, 2 would be bigger. Um, when we compare fractions, when we compare anything, we don't use bigger or smaller. We use the terms or the words greater than or less than. So on your Nearpods this week, you will see things that look like this. And these are our symbols that we will be using. So I'm not going to go too much further into that right now because I spend quite a bit of time in the Nearpods explaining to you greater than and less than. But the one thing I did want to show you was we have been working with fractions that have the same denominator. Okay, that's we call that the common denominator. Means it's a number that happens over and over again, so it's common denominator. Well, what happens when we have this? We don't have a common denominator anymore. We have completely different denominators. That means it completely changes the size of our fraction. So when we're trying to compare fractions that have different denominators, we have no idea of the size or the whole, right? You see the whole is 3 here, and then over here we see the whole is 6. How do you compare that? Well, we're going to work on that as well this week. So I'll be teaching you how to draw your fraction so that you can take a look to see is one fraction greater than, is it less than, or is it equal to the other fraction. And then we're going to finish up our week on Friday with just doing a plain old basic math review, going over the things that we've worked on already this year: addition, subtraction, multiplication. You'll be setting those up using your drawing, so it'll go along very well with what we're going to be doing earlier in the week with fractions. You're also going to work on telling time, counting money, and you'll just have some basic fraction review as well. As I've always told you guys, the more we practice, the better we get at it. And that is definitely the case when it comes to math. So as the week goes on, or even today, when you're doing review of fractions, if you need help, it's on you to use chat to let us know. We're not going to know what kind of help you need just by looking at the Nearpod, um, because you may be getting some help at home. But if you need help, please reach out to me or one of the pairs. We would be happy to hear from you and work with you. So good luck this week with your math. Put in the time, put in the effort, and I look forward to seeing what you do on those Nearpods. Have a good week.